Stefan, and I'm the theater director here at Wauwatosa West. Thank you for joining us tonight to dedicate the new Performing Arts Showcase in memory of Mary Kaiser. I see a lot of familiar faces. We have current students, teachers, alumni, and of course, Mary's family. Thank you all so much for being here. Over the past several months, I've seen the new showcase take shape, and I'm really thrilled to share it with all of you tonight. We wanted to find an impactful way to honor Mary's memory, and with a very generous donation from Mary's mom, we were able to create something, I think, really meaningful. The new showcase is a place for theater, choir, band, and orchestra to display awards and accomplishments and promote upcoming events. The title of the showcase is Spotlight on Performing Arts, and I think this is a fitting title since Mary was so involved in so many of the arts and opportunities that we have here at Wauwatosa West. Mary was an incredible soul, full of love and compassion for others, but she never got to finish her story. I knew Mary well from time spent doing theater at Whitman Middle School, and before that, many productions with the Children's Theater of Wauwatosa. Here at West, I directed Mary in several of our musicals. She truly was a shining star. Next, I'd like to welcome Mary's mom, Janice Birch Kaiser, to share a little bit more about Mary.
Thank you, Adam. I have notes. First off, thank you for coming, everybody, today. I know 5 o'clock is kind of a strange time to do this and people have to get off work, so I really appreciate those of you that are here today. There are many that weren't able to be here, and I also want to acknowledge them, and I also want to make clear that while it was a donation from me, it was a donation from all of you that made this happen, and I'll get to that in a little bit. That we wouldn't be here without all the generosity of the people who gave to the fund. So, I miss her so much. It's hard to put into words what it feels like to lose a child, no matter what their age, but especially when in the prime of her life. She was just ready at the point where she was ready to kick the next chapter. College graduate from UWM, living downtown with one of her friends who was here today, Mia, soaking up the downtown lakefront life with other friends that are here today, Lauren and Gabby and others. Mary didn't like to sit at the sidelines at any point in her life, and if you knew her, you knew that about her, right? She was always present. She navigated life's challenges like a champ, including living with diabetes for 22 or 24 years. Not many people know about that, but she was giving herself shots as soon as she could, but she was getting them since she was 18 months old, and it never got in the way of her doing anything, including running a half marathon, juggling plays, dance team, and a very active life. In the 24 years that she was with us, she gave us so much to her family and her friends in the community. And from the time she could talk, she could sing, and she did. She was hooked to the stage after she tried out for her first play at age 5. She continued on with Children's Theater Wauwatosa, where she met up with Adam, who was student directing and working with Lois Weber. The Wauwatosa Players, Whitman Middle School Theater, Skyline Musical Theater downtown, and the Wauwatosa West Trojan Players, which is where she really made her family on the stage. She sang a number of solos at talent shows from kindergarten all the way through her senior year of high school. She played Cinderella in Rodgers and Hammerstein's musical, and Adam was kind and caring enough to hunt down the dress that she wore in Cinderella. It had gone through a little bit of iteration because it was used for another play. What was the play?
The Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz, so Dorothy. But it still looks very much like the one that Mary wore in Cinderella. Then she went on to play Ariel in Footloose her sophomore year, and Cassie in Chorus Line, and Demeter in Cats her junior year. She got through a couple of tough rounds in tryouts for The Voice up in Minneapolis. The final judge he met told her to come back when she got a little older and had a moment to her voice. She never got to do that. A 4-year member of the school select choir, she sang the national anthems before basketball and football games starting her freshman year, and sang the graduation song for her classmates before accepting their diplomas at their 2014 commencement. She earned a reputation not only for her voice, but her kindness. She continuously encouraged others to join theater, try out for plays or a choral group. She brought the sunshine and the soul to the party, to the conversation, and to her friendships. You will hear from some of her castmates a little bit later on. While she was often awarded and then often shocked at being put in the spotlight so frequently when she was trying out for plays and got lead roles, she loved to share the stage, and she had no problem stepping back into the shadows so somebody else could shine, which is what she did most of her senior year, and concentrated on chorus parts while focusing on her last year with her dance team, which she was also a 4-year member of here. She showed a lot of passion in supporting others, which is why, when the curtain drops and you see her plaque, you see at the bottom it'll say, "A dream is a wish that your heart makes." One of the lines from a song she sang in Cinderella, and it just seemed really fitting to put on there. Mary would like that this showcase serves as a means of love and support to current and future students involved in the arts, to highlight their hard work and accomplishments and events. She would love that a scholarship has been started in her name. We awarded the first two of the Merit Scholarship a few weeks ago. Nora Ramafinger, I hope I didn't mangle that name, and Peyton Rowie, both incredibly bright, articulate, and ambitious young women, were the recipients for the first scholarships in Mary's name. There are so many to thank for the support and love over the last year in helping me stand up again after losing this bright light. There are so many, starting with my best friend, sitting right here, who reminded me frequently of the relationship I had with my daughter and all the things I had left to do and help me get through some of my darkest days. I need to thank all of my friends and Mary's friends who have stood by me over and over and over and reached out to me through last year. You've all been incredible, and it's just not the donations you gave to the scholarship fund, it's everything else that you do to keep Mary's legacy alive. I need to thank Bob and Kathy, the designers who you will hear from in a little bit, for their patience and kindness in working with me through the design process. I love what they have done, and I know that you will too. And to Adam for his thoughtfulness in coming up with a way to create a legacy spot to honor Mary and at the same time honor future students in the performing arts. Your sensitivity through all of this has been remarkable, and your patience and creativity has been a gift. And to all of those who gave, many of you are here, to the fund. Others, they scatter from coast to coast and even beyond the pond, who were generous enough to give to the fund that has been able to afford all of this to happen. Thank you. And we need to thank Luke, who unfortunately could not make it here tonight because of a last-minute thing with work. But he started this fundraiser unbeknownst to our family, and we found out about it the day that Mary passed. And without that, none of this would have happened. So, thank you, Luke. I know your ears are burning. And with that, I would like to hand it back to Adam, and thank you all for being here and putting up with my blubbering right now. So, thank you.
Next, we have a special musical performance of the song "What I Did for Love" from the musical A Chorus Line, which Mary was in. As you heard, she played the role of Cassie in our April 2013 production. Current senior Ryan Schultz will sing, accompanied by junior Jackson Peterson. to introduce Kathy and John Birch of Barking Pony Studios.
Thank you, Adam.
Kind of a tough act.
You made us cry. Can you hear me? My name is John Moross. This is my wife, Kathy. And in the mid-1990s, we started a company called Barking Pony Studios. The thrust of our business is special event decor, corporate parties, weddings, trade shows, and we do everything from fabric treatments to building props, such as theater props. In fact, we did this curtain here. We're brought in to make ugly places beautiful and beautiful places even better. And we're pretty good at it. But this job is different because we also did what's behind the curtain. And thanks to Janice and the memory of Mary, we tried to do our very best. We've all heard about supply chain issues. We've heard about the expensive materials, and it's all true. Right now, I'd like to thank not only my wife for her design, and Janice for her support, and Adam for choosing us to do this job. But there are some other people that are not here that I'd like to thank. There's a man named Leo who works at BBC Lighting downtown. He was able to track down the light fixtures and the bulbs for us to light this case. Not all at once. It took months. We could get the bulbs, but we couldn't get the fixtures, or we could get the fixtures and couldn't get the bulbs. They're in China. They're somewhere off of Long Beach. We don't know. There's a young man named Burke who works at a company called Action Lighting in Bozeman, Montana. And he put us at the front of the list to get the brain box that powers the lights on the marquee. He sent me something temporarily to test the lights to make sure it all worked, and it did. But it took, again, another month or two to get the little computer chip that works those lights. Kathy and I came to see the production that they did this spring of Beauty and the Beast. And at that point, I was in despair. Things weren't coming in. We weren't getting finished. We wanted to have it done for the production, but it was not possible. The TOSA players were so talented and so wonderful. I was in tears that night, and it was inspiring. And for whatever reason, within a day or two, things started to come in. Another box at the doorstep, another phone call, we have your stuff, come get it. And then the case started to come together. And as we completed it, I hoped that we had done Mary justice. A young man kept stopping by every once in a while, looking behind the curtain and asking us if he could help us, and I obviously couldn't have him help us. And then one day we were talking and he said, "How old do you think this display case is?" And I said, "Well, I think it was probably built before I graduated high school." And he said, "When was that?" And I said, "Well, it was 42 years ago." And because of the nature of our business things being temporary, they're up one day and they're gone the next, I really wanted this to be good enough that 42 years from now, that young man might be back here working on this, and someone will stop by and say, "When was that built?" He goes, "Oh, I was here 42 years ago." We tried to build it so that it would be adaptable and of high quality and useful as long as the theater department and all the other performers in this school are capable of using it. And with that, as you can tell, I'm not a public speaker.
Okay, well, we'd also like to thank Tony Gardner.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tony, please stand up. Tony was my right-hand man.
I just carried the heavy stuff.
Tony was, at the end of the project, very used to my profanity-laced tirades. "Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff?" But he was an invaluable help, and I can't thank him enough. Another friend of ours, Emily Held, helped with some of the painting. But I think I'm going to turn this over again to Adam, and I hope that you all enjoy this now and in the future. Thank you.
We have a number of alumni here with us tonight, and a few of them in just a moment are going to speak and share a few words, but I'd like to share now the words of Molly Fritz. She couldn't be here this evening. Molly graduated here from West in 2015 and was a former classmate, roommate at UWM, and a castmate of Mary's. Mary and I met during my freshman year and first production at Wauwatosa West, Footloose. After that, we performed in almost every single musical together until she graduated. We also sang together in 3 years, for 3 years in chamber choir. Mary was so many things, undeniably captivating, hilarious, and so smart. Mary was a natural performer with an amazing amount of talent. She could sing, she could dance, and act. A triple threat. She loved to sing, and we loved to hear her sing. To know Mary was to love Mary. She was so warm and familiar with everyone. In the 3 years we lived together, I was able to get a glimpse at the depth of Mary's love for people. She was a friend to all, and we couldn't go many places without her running into several people who loved her back. She was the glue to so many random connections and the reason why so many people are still friends today. You only get to meet someone like Mary once in your life, and if you're lucky, and if you are that lucky, cherish them deeply. Mary's absence will always be felt, but this showcase will help us keep her legacy alive. Thank you, Molly Fritz. Next, we have Taylor Peterson Burke.
Hi, my name's Taylor Peterson Burke. I graduated in 2011, so I was older than Mary. I, first of all, want to thank Janice so much for the honor and privilege of speaking about just someone who was an absolute cornerstone in my adolescence and someone who I remember every day. It's really impossible to overstate the positive impact that Mary had on everyone who were lucky enough to meet her. We met when she was still in middle school. She played an orphan in Annie. And just from that moment, I noticed that Mary had such a light and a specialness about her, and her talent shone so much, but even more so, I noticed her humility and her humbleness and her gratitude for being able to be in this high school production and spend time. And ever since that moment in Annie that we got to spend together, I was very, very fortunate to be a sort of mentor for Mary. It's a privilege that I took very seriously, being a role model for her. Gave me a very clear purpose in how I would go about my days and conduct myself, because I knew that someone very special kind of always had her eye on me. We got to be very, very close, and I just enjoyed watching her come up to high school with me and all of the things that she was able to do in high school. It just made me so proud to be someone who was cheering her on from a couple grades above. My senior year, and I believe her freshman year, we were in Cinderella together, and that mentorship took a more literal role when she played Cinderella and I played the fairy godmother. So she was able to have this opportunity to play the starring role, and once again, she was just so grateful for every moment. I think that there's always so many things that we remember, right, about being in a show, but I think that the most special, of course, is our rehearsal process, and all of those moments that we got to share together selfishly, because it was pretty much just her and I all the time. We got to really connect, and I just felt very, very, very honored to spend so much time with her freshman year, my senior year, because I knew I was going to have to leave her and let her do things on her own. It's really remarkable how humble Mary was through every moment, because we always viewed her as this special, special girl, and she never took any second for granted. She always brought joy and fun to every moment. We had plenty of mishaps in Cinderella, where once her dress went on backwards on stage during the big quick change, and then it fell off. I would have taken that far too seriously, and just looking at Mary in the eyes, I was like, oh no, we're gonna have fun with this. So those are things that I wanted to share with you, because they're things that I carry with me every day as I remember her, finding that fun in every moment, finding the joy, staying humble, and really just being grateful for every single moment. It was really just like one of the honors of my life to be an older role for her. So thank you again.
Next, we have Erin Murphy.
Oh boy, I'm probably gonna cry. Just saying that now. So my name's Erin. Oh no. I was also older than Mary, and I came to Tosa West from a private school alone. The only person from my school who came here, and I was 15, and I tried out for Annie. And Mary was probably 11, and she was my confidence. People who know me may be surprised to hear that I have never felt particularly confident. I was and am very good at faking it to make it, and also using the confidence of the people around me, people like Mary. In a theater full of stars and supernovas and black holes, Mary was the sun. Not only because she was bright and funny and warm, but because people gravitated towards her, myself included. It didn't matter that she was younger. It didn't matter that she could outsing anybody. You wanted to be by her. She had this natural talent that was a force. I would joke, and I still do, that she was so talented you couldn't even be jealous. Because that kind of talent makes you stop in your tracks and have to listen. And then not only was she amazingly talented, but she was humble, and she was funny. And she was the first to laugh at herself, and the first to help anybody who needed it. I am so glad her legacy is being carried on in this scholarship in just another way she's helping. And I'm so honored to be here today and to have known her. Just like the sun, Mary will shine here in this showcase and bring others into her orbit at this place where she shone the brightest, giving them her confidence and her love of performing. I will miss her forever. I will brag about being in shows with her forever, and I will continue to hear her voice in the songs we sang together. Thank you.
Next, we have Josh Cock.
Thank you. My name is Josh Cook. I graduated with Mary in 2014. I was in a lot of shows with her. When I heard that Mary had fallen ill, I was, of course, very concerned. And then when I heard that Mary had passed, I was just at a loss for words to describe how I felt. It was so unexpected and just, it really got to me. What I can say for certain is that Mary was missed and is missed by everyone. She was immensely talented and was an inspiration to all those around her. Mary was the cornerstone of our theater department. She came onto the stage as a freshman as the star of Cinderella, and her performances were amazing. I remember seeing that show and seeing how fantastic it looked. I was convinced to try out for the musical next year, Footloose. That's where I met and became friends with Mary. She was co-starring this time, and over the course of the production, she was in several musical numbers. One of my favorite memories of Mary's amazing voice was when we started putting all the pieces of that show together. When we started rehearsing in the theater, we didn't have mics yet, but Mary's voice carried through the entire auditorium. I ran to grab something from the booth while we were rehearsing one of the numbers, and you could hear her clear as day all the way from the last row. Thanks to Mary's stunning performances, Footloose was a wildly successful show, paving the way for future growth in the theater department. Mary went on to have other supporting roles, appearing in 7 shows in 4 years. She never had a problem with someone else getting the big part, and she never turned down a role because she was too big for it, which is something I always admired her for greatly. Toward the end of our high school career, I had the opportunity to act alongside Mary in a chorus line. In my biggest role, I was helped tremendously by acting opposite someone with such talent. I never ceased to be amazed by her fantastic agility and strength when she took the stage for a dance number. And I felt that we had tremendous chemistry on stage together, much in part due to her fantastic ability. As if all that wasn't enough, I had the distinct pleasure to sing alongside Mary in choir for years, where her vocal talent shined as a member of many great ensemble groups. Mary was always so kind to the other actors and to the crew, and she has been missed by all. The Wauwatosa West Trojan players send our collective condolences to her family. Know that we are all so thankful for the effect that Mary had on our lives, and we miss her terribly. This showcase is for her.
Thank you to all the alumni for being here and for those words about Mary. And with that, we're going to reveal Mary's showcase. Ready? Beautiful.
Thank you again for coming, and it's beautiful. If anybody would like to stick around, we have some cookies and coffee and some water back here if you'd like to visit. I know some of you haven't seen each other in a long time. I want to thank everyone for coming, and that solo just tore me apart. It was amazing. Thank you. And to Aaron and to Josh and to Taylor, thank you so much for being part of tonight's dedication, and for all of you for being here. Come join us. Thank you.
Thank you.